I thought I was going to have something good and I was like, no, got nothing. I don't know where I'm going with that, it's been cut about. So I've got a few top tips for training camp. I think most people really enjoy coming out on training camp, but there's a few things you can do that will make it a little bit less stressful and be able to help you sort of maximise your training time. Tip number one, probably the most important, know your budget and stick to it. I think there are so many options now as to what you can do training camp wise. You can go for something that's all inclusive, something like a Club La Santa in Lanzarote where everything's on site, you get your little self-catered apartment. The downside, I guess, is that it's pretty expensive. Or you can do something similar to what I've done for this camp, which is find yourself a little Airbnb apartment, the cheapest one that you can, and find some cheap flights and find somewhere that's quite cheap to fly to as well. I think you've got like two different ends of the spectrum, and then there's obviously quite a lot of options in between. Just knowing what you're willing to spend on training camp and then sort of searching with that is a good place to start. The one thing to bear in mind when you're thinking about budget and where you're going to go as well is whether you want to be with groups of people to train with or whether you're happy doing a bit more sort of by yourself or with the people you've arranged to come out with. So for example, I'm out here with 2 people. We're doing a fair amount of training together, but there's bits where we're kind of having to go off and do little bits on our own because of some of the slightly different focuses of our training. So sort of bear that in mind when you're looking at where to book. Tip number 2, do your research. I think obviously if you're looking at where to go, you're going to be doing some research, but have a think about, are you trying to do like a bike specific camp, a swim specific camp, or just a sort of broad general get some training in, because that'll probably help determine where's best for you to go, you know, depending on the weather, what kind of facilities are there, and have a think about, has it got the right facilities for what you need? It could be little things like, if you can't drive, are you going to be somewhere where everything's in one place so you don't need to drive? Or just knowing actually there's a supermarket that I can get to really easily, or there's other things around that are going to make my life much easier. Tip number 3, for me, this is quite an important one, it'd be find some really good friends to come out and train with you. Everyone knows that training is much more fun when you have people to train with, and I think especially if you can find people that are like a little bit stronger than you in certain bits, you've got people to help push you on as well. If you are struggling to find some friends, or you don't have any, I've got lots of friends, then have a think about where you can go where there'll be other people training. So potentially some of the places where things are put on and there's groups doing sessions. Generally speaking, your training camp is going to be better if you've got other people to train with. And even if you have friends coming out that you're not necessarily doing the same training, or you're going to be doing different training, you can at least have some chill time together and sort of cook and eat and maybe have some fun in the evening. Number 4, bring the right kit. I've been on some training camps before where I have sort of overestimated how warm it's going to be and not brought out all the right kit, and definitely been caught out at the top of climbs or descending and being really cold. Generally speaking, you have enough room in your bike bag to bring the right sort of stuff, so I always actually probably overpack and bring too much. Make sure that you know what the weather's like, what it's like in the evening as well, because again, I've been on a couple of camps where I've taken all the right kit for my training and then just ended up with shorts and t-shirts for the evening and it's been about 8 degrees. Wouldn't recommend it, so bring the right kit. And along with the kit, make sure that you've got all the kind of nutrition and stuff that you want to use. I think going to be quite hard to find specific, you know, sports nutrition wherever you are. There's a lot of benefit to training with the nutrition that you want to race with, so bring out the stuff that you want to practice with. Tip number 5, be prepared. I think it comes a little bit with do your research, but it's actually a little bit more than that in terms of have a look at the pool timetables, find out where the supermarkets are, have a think about what other stuff you might need to know about generally that area. Today it seems that the Spanish can't deal with rain, so everything's shut. Sometimes it might be that you're not allowed to cycle on certain roads and you have to go on the bike path. Little things like that that will again just keep you out of trouble and make life a bit easier for the weekend. Number 6, plan your routes in advance. I try and find people that have been to the area to give me some routes, or I do a bit of Strava stalking and look at where the segments are. Global heat map on Strava is quite good to have a little look at and see where people have been cycling and running. I think with Twitter and Instagram now it's quite easy to just reach out and ask people who have been before to share some routes, and then you know that you're not going to end up on a dirt track on your TT bike or something like that that you don't want to be doing, or trying to run through a fence on your trail like a certain someone. Mainly I try and ask people for routes and share it that way, but if not, Strava is a good place to start. Tip number 7, final tip, also quite an important one. Don't get carried away on your first day or two. I think it's very easy, especially as an age grouper, to come out, have all these grand plans about doing like 30 hours of training when maybe you normally only do like 10, and getting far too excited about being out in the sun and on your bike and in summer kit. You go and smash yourself in the first day or two and then you're completely knackered for the rest of the week. Try and pace yourself. Hopefully you'll have at least a week. Try and make sure that you're not getting too overexcited and you're saving yourself for the whole week. Key to think about the fact that whilst you might get a really good week's training in, if you overdo it too much, then you'll write yourself off when you get back. The stress of travel will potentially get ill, so be a little bit sensible.